there, my name is Kenzie with Gypsy Yoga by Kenzie. Today we will continue with our alignment-based series and we will work on low lunge. Things that you will need to do this pose: your mat, a blanket, and 2 blocks. The Sanskrit word for low lunge is Anjaneyasana. Low lunge is such a great pose that not only stretches but strengthens muscles such as your arms, your chest, your shoulders, your lower back, your quadriceps, your glutes. It mobilizes and stabilizes your knees in the lunge pose. So it's such a great pose that you can do in almost any sequence to just stretch and strengthen certain muscles. There are reasons why you may want to avoid doing low lunge if you have knee injuries, lower back injuries, or hip injury. And you'll see why as we move along. So we need to warm up our hip flexors before we move into low lunge. So what we're gonna do is just do butterfly pose for 2 breaths until our hips get a little bit warmed up, and we'll be able to do low lunge comfortably. So go ahead and get into butterfly pose with your feet together. Move the skin beneath your sitting bones back. Spread your knees out wide. Place your feet farther away or closer in, whatever feels comfortable. Wrap your hands around your feet. Inhale, lift your chest, and as you exhale, go ahead and just hinge forward at the hips, keeping your chest lifted, going as far as you can go. We'll hold this for 2 breaths. And on your next inhale, slowly come back up. So hopefully that gave your hips a little bit of flexibility. So let's go ahead and move into low lunge. So grab your blanket and fold it up till about this length, just so it's a little bit of padding, and this is where your knees will go. All right. So to get into low lunge, we will begin in a downward dog pose. So get into your downward facing dog. It doesn't have to be a perfect down dog. Just get in it. Take 1 breath in and 1 breath out. On your next inhale, step your left foot to the center of the mat as you lift your right leg up for a 3-legged down dog. Exhale, bend your knee, bringing it up into your nose, placing your right foot on the ground in between your hands. At this point, your back leg is up. So what you want to do is just drop your knee onto the blanket, pull your core in, untuck your back toe, and make sure the front ankle is directly beneath the front knee. So you do not want your ankle behind your knee. You don't want your knee over your ankle, and it's not your ankle's not supposed to be in front of your knee either. You want it directly in line with your knee, so it's a straight line. So that way your knee does not get injured. So pulling up through the core. So you are pretty much in low lunge right now, and you can stay here with your chest lifted, hands on the ground, pulling up through your core, rolling your shoulders back for this low lunge, and you really feel it here in this hip flexor. You can take your blocks or your books, and you can even push it up even more. But if you want to push yourself, you can go ahead, inhale your arms up all the way above your head and kind of give yourself a slight back bend. So this is also called crescent moon lunge as well. So pulling up through your core, right? Pulling your shoulders away from your ears. You also want to squeeze your knee into the center midline of your body. You really feel this deep stretch right here in this hip flexor. If coming up all the way with your hands above your head is way too much for you, go ahead and bring your hands at your hips, pulling your shoulders away, continuing to pull up through this core, really strengthening your core. And this really stretches your hip flexor you feel here. And also, if another modification would be to grab your blocks and place them beside your feet, place your hands on the blocks and lift your chest up into the air. So all of those can be a low lunge. All right, guys, go ahead and come out of it, and we'll do the other side in just a minute. Go ahead and sit in Vajrasana. So all of those were low lunges. So with your hands all the way up in the air, you can have your hands at your hips, on the blocks, or on the ground. But it doesn't matter which modification you do, you want to make sure you're engaging all of the correct muscles. So you really feel a deep stretch in your hip flexor. So whatever leg is in front, you want to make sure you're squeezing it to the midline, your knees directly above your ankle. I'm just going to get into the pose so I can show you. So whatever leg is in front, you want to make sure your knee is directly above your ankle. You're hugging that to the midline. You don't want your leg to fall out to the side in low lunge. So hugging it to the midline. You can go as far as you want to go in low lunge. The more you sink into the ground, the more this hip flexor gets stretched. Chest is lifted, core is pulling in, rolling your shoulders back. So it doesn't matter which modification you do, you want to make sure all of those muscles are engaged. All right, so let's go ahead and do the other side together. So go ahead and get into your downward facing dog. Taking one deep breath in and out. On your inhale, step your right foot to the center of the mat, lifting your left leg up into the air for a three-legged down dog. As you exhale, bend your knee, bringing it through all the way, touching your nose, and then placing your foot in between your hands. You will drop your back knee onto the blanket so it has some padding. Untuck your back toe. Remember to pull it through your core, roll your shoulders back, and you can stay here with your hands on the ground for the low lunge. You can use a modification to take the blocks right here beside your foot and lift your chest up higher. Or you can push yourself and go all the way with your hands on the hips or up above your head, giving yourself a slight back bend towards the back of the mat, squeezing through your core, making sure your shoulders are away from your ears. One breath in, and as you exhale, go ahead and release and sit in Vajrasana. So the reason why I tell you guys to grab a blanket or a towel is because a lot of people's knees are very sensitive, and if I'm already on dirt, so it's already softer, grass is softer, but if you're on a hardwood floor or concrete or any floor that's hard, your knee will hurt on the ground, even under your mat. So I would grab a blanket or a towel, just give yourself a little padding underneath the knee, and that way it doesn't cause further injury as well. Okay, so now you guys know how to do low lunge with proper alignment. I would like to know down in the comments below which modification you like to do in low lunge, whether it's your hands on the ground, on the blocks, hands on your hips, or hands all the way up in the air. I would like to know which modification you do. Also, keep in mind that everybody's body is different. So if someone else is doing a low lunge with their hands all the way up into the air and you can't get there yet, don't worry and don't stress yourself out about it. You will be fine, and just work your way up to that low lunge slowly. You don't want to cause any injury, and you need to listen to your body if it's telling you that it can't go that far. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel so you can see all my other alignment-based videos as well as yoga sequences that I release weekly. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.